She is a Unity minister and a recovery coach, and a frequent speaker at Unity centers across the eastern region of the United States and also now in Canada. Her mission is to help people create joy and discover freedom along the way. And all are welcome, no exceptions. Rev Kathleen focuses her talks and classes on practical ways to incorporate a spiritual approach to everything we do, since we are all spiritual beings having a human experience together. And that is a wonderful introduction that we received from Kathleen. And Kathleen, welcome so much, and take it away.
Well, thank you very much for that greeting. Good morning, everyone. It is wonderful to be back with you. I love this community. Just to look at your beautiful faces, those of you who have your cameras on, I see lights coming from your eyes. I know it's coming from your heart, and I'm just excited to be here. So I don't know if you're aware of this or not, but the United States is going through something right now. That's all I'm going to say. Because the United States is going through something right now, I'm going through something right now. It has been a challenge to be a Unity minister, to hear a lot of difficult, negative conversations from both sides. It has been very challenging. So you are the lucky recipients of hearing about how I'm trying to get through this, right? We were kidding earlier before the service started that you always will get messages from your guest speakers about what they're going through. Now that we may disguise it beautifully and say, oh, I'm here to talk about the 5 principles, but you're always going to get my filter. Right? You're always going to get what I'm picking up on in this present moment. And I also always know that what I'm sharing with you is my authentic truth in this moment. See me next week, and I may have a totally different take on it, and that's okay, right? But what I want to share about is why I feel like it's time to review. What I mean by that, it's time to start asking questions again. Lent is the perfect time to do this. It's time to explore our belief system. And I don't care where you're living, in what part of the planet you're on, it's always a good time to take a look at that, to question what our beliefs are, what we're really thinking, right? So when I was raised in a traditional Catholic home, the message I got loud and clear from my family, I don't know if everybody did, but in my growing up, I got the message, you don't ever question. And so when I found Unity, and speakers, including my minister, were saying things like, yes, question this and question that. And what about this possibility? And what about that possibility? I was very uncomfortable. It took me a while to get used to the fact that it was okay for me to suddenly sit down and go, so what is God? Do I really believe that I'm inherently good? Do I really believe that other people are all inherently good? See where I'm going with this? So Lent, I found a great acronym on Facebook on one of my other Unity Minister friends' pages. She wrote, Lent stands for L-E-N-T, let's eliminate negative thinking. Love it. Love it, right? That's what I usually use Lent for, right? To look at where is my error thinking? What am I willing to let go of? Okay, because I'll be honest with you, especially with what's going on in the United States right now, I'm very certain that I'm right in my thinking. And I am very sure that there are other people who are very wrong. And so what I have committed to doing in this year and next year and maybe for years to come is to continuously look at who am I judging? Why am I judging them? It's all about me, right? So from where you're seated, it's all about you. It's where are your thoughts taking you that I want to talk about today. I'm kind of looking at the 5 principles, and I love the way it's short and sweet. During the opening of the service, the one power and one presence through everything, everywhere. God is love. I'm an expression of God, therefore inherently good. I don't hear any exceptions there. It doesn't say except for liberals. It doesn't say except for conservatives. It doesn't say except for Canadians. It doesn't say except for someone from South America. It doesn't have any exceptions. Isn't that the tough part? Isn't that the most difficult thing to, at least it is for me, to swallow some days? Other days, yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm feeling it. This is good. And other days, not so much, right? I think, I pray, I live. I love the 5 principles. And so I'm really kind of taking a look at those. Do I really believe it? And if I do, how am I expressing it to the world out there? Since this is March, and since your theme is around the power of wisdom, what a perfect power to have for doing this review, right? Before we move into wisdom, before I do that, I want to share 2 quotes with you that are about taking action. Bradley Whitford said, infuse your life with action. Don't wait for it to happen. Make it happen, not by passively waiting for grace to come down from upon high, but by doing what you can to make grace happen. I love that. And Joel Barker is quoted as saying, vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world. I need all the help I can get right now. So I'm going to invite you to join me on this journey. We won't see each other for a little while. We won't be in direct contact with each other, but just knowing that some of you are on this journey with me of being willing enough to tap into that power of wisdom and ask yourself some tough questions and see how you can demonstrate it in the world. It makes me get all warm and fuzzy inside, and it makes me feel like I'm uplifted, right? We're all going through stuff. Just the people in the United States, everybody on this planet, every being is facing something. And some days are easier than others. And so whether we like it or not, and I guess I should say whether I like it or not, I still believe that we are all connected. I still believe that principle of oneness. And if that's the case, it means I'm in this with everyone and not just the people I feel believe the right things to believe, right? This isn't going to be an easy ask of you. But I think it's the only way that we're going to be able to move forward and evolve. Those of you who have heard about spiral dynamics understand that maybe this is the time where we're getting ready to move into a new level of consciousness. And in order to do that, we got to kind of help each other, right? It will appear as if people are fighting that. It's just an appearance. Something else I have to try and remember. It's difficult. It is very difficult. I'm happy to talk to unity churches. I don't know what I would do if I was faced with an audience that didn't think the same way as unity teaches, right? I think it would go okay, but it would be tougher, right? It's wonderful when I can sit here and look at all your beautiful faces and you're smiling when I think you're supposed to be smiling. You're not laughing at me or anything like that, right? But you're smiling or you're nodding your head when I say something. It just helps me to continue to share with you from the heart. So it's time to take action. In my opinion, we start with those tough questions, right? And we call upon the power of wisdom to help guide us. I always find this interesting. When I first started taking classes to become an LUT, because that's all I was going to do, as you can see that panned out, right? But when I was taking classes to become an LUT, it was called the power of judgment. It was not called the power of wisdom. And somewhere along the line, it changed. I personally think that people kind of got stuck on the word judgment, right? Because we often hear people say, don't judge other people. Just, take care of yourself, stay on your own side of the street, keep your side of the street clean, etc. Don't judge. So I think they kind of shifted it to wisdom, but it's the same premise. It's the idea that the power of wisdom helps me to discern what may or may not be true, helps me to intuit what's going on around me and maybe make a different decision, right? Tapping into that power. So here's the good news, and maybe you believe this, maybe not, but in my belief system, I'm still at the point where I believe that the power of wisdom is already here within each and every one of us. We already have access to it. No one here has to earn that. You've already got it. Okay, so that's the good news. The challenge is to remember to tap into it when you're faced with a difficulty of any kind. Tap into it when you're faced with a major decision that might be victorious no matter what. However, you're not sure what to do. It's always there. The thing that I have the biggest challenge with is remembering these things, right? When I'm in the middle of a human moment, you know those human moments, right? You're at the grocery store in line and you're in the 10 items or less line, and the lady in front of you has 22 items, because I've counted, right? Right. You know what I'm talking about, a human moment. I forget I'm divine in nature. I forget that I already have everything I need, except for the groceries that I'm trying to check out that I can't do quickly. Right? Divine wisdom. What a beautiful resource. All of our 12 powers are beautiful resources, but how about this divine wisdom? I went to Paul Hasselbeck's website. He does something called the absolute word, and he does it with Unity's blessing. He changes the wording of the daily word entries on Sundays to reflect language that doesn't indicate there is any separation whatsoever. So what I mean by that is sometimes when we use the word God, some people sometimes keep thinking about that old man in the sky and the clouds, right? With the long white beard and the long white hair and the robe and just kind of watching down upon us. And now where you go with that image is up to you, because some people really feel like he's watching down with love and grace and mercy, and others feel it's a judgmental God. That doesn't matter. Sometimes when we use the word God, it feels like it is a separate being from us. I will be honest with you, I grew up in a traditional home, right? A traditional Catholic home. And so God felt separate from me for sure. For sure. So Paul kind of changes the languaging a little bit, and he says something like this. I just found an entry on wisdom. I embody divine wisdom. Divine wisdom is one of my 12 powers. It is my ability to evaluate what I know. I bless my intellect. I also accept the limitations of my intellectual understanding. Ooh, those are big words. And I don't mean long in length. I mean, those are really deeply meaningful words. I bless my intellect and I accept the limitations of my intellectual understanding. I know I'm a spiritual being. I know I have every divine quality. There is none left out. And I'm having a human experience, which means that my intellectual understanding is not always at 100% like I would like it to. Well, I'm a perfectionist. I'd kind of like my intellectual understanding to be at about 110%, but that's just me. But we accept it all, right? My mentor, who I shared earlier, Reverend Jim Rosemergy, was the first person to help me understand this concept of I need to embrace my humanity in order to express my divinity. It was the first time when I heard him that first time back in, I don't know, 2009, 2010, when I heard that for the first time, I remember breathing fully for the first time. I remember feeling such relief that, oh, wow, I can do that. I can do that. I can embrace my humanity. I can thank these, what I consider to be negative emotions showing up because they tell me what I'm feeling, and then I can ask them to leave. Thanks, anger. Thanks, jealousy. Appreciate it. You can go now. If I'm feeling love, happiness, or peace, I can thank it and I can say, stay as long as you can. Right? But we have access to all of this. The point of the review, to look at your beliefs and to say, do I really still believe this? Here's the tricky part. No judgment of self. Wherever you end up going with this, do not judge yourself as being wrong. You're not wrong. You're just in the moment. You're considering the possibilities. What do I believe God is? Do I believe that I am divine in nature and that I am inherently good? And part two of that is, do I believe all others are? Do I believe I create my experience by my thoughts? Unity teaches that everything begins with thought, right? But do I really believe that? And friends, I'm going to say this to you now. No matter what your answer is, I'm going to love you anyway. I'm going to accept exactly where you are, whenever you are, right? But if you find yourself thinking, no, I don't think I believe that anymore, do not get upset. Do not judge yourself as being wrong. See where you go from here. My recommendation is the only two requirements are keep an open heart and an open mind. It's not a unity requirement, it's a KK requirement. Open mind, open heart. What that does, it allows me to hear more. It allows me to consider more, right? With what we are seeing in our lives, wherever we may be, it appears chaotic. It appears that there is a lot of hate in the world in general. If you're on social media at all in any capacity, it appears that there is a lot of hate. But you know what? There's so much love. There are so many people coming together, and there is a large number of people, and I am included in this, who believe that we are moving into the next level of consciousness. And if that is the case, if that's what's happening, then everything we're seeing from a physical standpoint, from a human experience standpoint, everything is happening the way it needs to happen to help us to get to the next level. I think I still believe that. Catch me at any moment. Every 5 minutes, I might be changing my mind. But in general, I do believe that that is what's happening. That all of this craziness, wherever you are, whatever your thoughts are, liberal, conservative, caring, non-caring, empathetic, not empathetic, wherever you are at, If we are one, then we are connected. And if we are connected, we are feeling all of it. And that can feel stressful. That can feel sad. It can feel depressing. It can feel hopeful. It can fill us with faith. It can do a lot of things for us if we trust the divine within us. I'm going to be honest with you. This talk did not go anywhere that I thought it was going to go. I have 4 pages of notes and I got through the first half of 1 page. This is what I do. I put some bullet points down and then I see where I go. So this is where we're at in the moment, okay? I think you're understanding where I'm coming from. The invitation is to explore your beliefs. You don't have to use the 5 principles. I just found that it was an easy place to start. There's lots of places we can go after that. You can go through the 12 powers. You can go through lots of things. But one thing I want to point out to you before we go into the meditation is this. C read this beautiful entry about love heals in every circumstance, aligned with wisdom. And I want to read this to you, and I want you to think of a person in your life who you disagree with, a group of people that you might disagree with. I want you to think about this for a moment. This is what she read. Wisdom helps love avoid being naive or misguided. So that's number 1. I used to be the kind of person that wanted to put my head in the sand, and if I just don't look, it won't be there, right? It'll disappear. We don't want to be naive or misguided. Wisdom helps love avoid being naive or misguided, while love ensures that wisdom is applied with empathy. Now, I do know that I have some people make fun of those who have empathy. I am not one of those people. Empathy is one of the greatest qualities, feelings, experiences ever. She read, this creates a deep understanding of others' needs, struggles, and perspectives. So remember that person I told you to think about, or that group of people I told you to think about? This is going to help us to be able to look at that person and or group and understand just a little bit more. You know what that means? It means we need to be willing. We need to be willing to do this, that we might change our minds about another person and or another group of people. I'm not saying we have to shift belief systems. I'm not saying we have to suddenly agree with everything they're saying or doing. All I'm saying is that if we understand just a little bit more, maybe a conversation can be had. Maybe a group conversation can be had. Maybe one person will be willing to change one thought about one thing that will lead us closer to being together, to living from a consciousness of no separation. That's where I'm going with all of this. She read, you become better at seeing the bigger picture and responding with kindness and patience. Nowhere in there does it say that your acceptance indicates approval. No one's saying that. But if I can get to a place where I can look at a person in my life and or a group of people in my life, and being a minister, trust me, I have all kinds, right? Being a recovery coach, you wouldn't believe the gamut, the range of people that I have in my life, right? But if I can just understand a little bit of how they got to where they're at, maybe it will help me to be more willing to have a conversation. And maybe my presence will bring a calm that will help others have a conversation. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to invite you on this journey with me anyway. right? If even one of us makes one step towards progress, then today was a success. Who knows where we can go? But this is a theme I'm going to be keeping on with for a while. People are going to hear this. I'm gotten a couple more churches on my calendar, and they're going to be hearing about it. I invite you to join me on this journey. I hope you'll be there with me. And so it is. Amen. Let's take this into meditation, my friends. I invite you to get comfortable wherever you are. And you can do this any way you want. If you want to close your eyes, you can do so, but I invite you to start by just taking a couple of nice, deep cleansing breaths to just allow your body to relax into the chair, into the sofa, wherever you may be. And just do the deep breathing. Feel yourself relaxing more and more. You can't do this wrong. May the words that I speak now be the words of your own heart. Today, I am willing to review my thoughts, my beliefs. I am open to considering all possibilities. I take a step forward courageously to open my mind and my heart, welcoming a deeper understanding of other people's needs, struggles, perspectives. I embody divine wisdom. Today, I am willing to eliminate negative thinking. I am prepared to embrace new thinking. I bless my intellect and I accept the limitations of my intellectual understanding. Today, I center into the awareness of my divinity. I take these words into the silence. My mind and my heart are aligned with unlimited divine wisdom. I remember that Lent is 40 days, a time of review a time of renewal. And remember that the metaphysical meaning behind 40 days is completeness. And so I embrace this Lenten season. I am filled with a curiosity, a willingness to explore. I release all need to judge, and I trust that the divine is on my side. And I say thank you to this divine universe. Thank you to divine mind, creator, source, whatever word I use. I am grateful. And I am committed to making sure that my gratitude shows in every word that I speak and every action that I take. And so it is. Amen. Before you